Hare Krishna. So tonight we'll be looking at mantra 14 of Sri Isopanisad. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo bayam saha vinashena mrityum tritva sambhutya mritam ashtate. So this is the translation. One should know perfectly the personality of Godhead and His transcendental name, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men and animals. When one knows these, he surpasses death in the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So we'll just read a little of the purport. By its so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet it has failed to create freedom from birth, old age, disease, and death. Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that it will ultimately be possible to render man deathless and ageless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everything is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through 6 stages of transformation: birth, growth, maintenance, transformation, deterioration, and finally death. Nothing that is in contact with material nature can be beyond these 6 laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or tree, can survive forever in the material world. And the purport goes on, but I'll summarize it. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvan Vaditam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhakam Kritavachalam Pangam Langa Tegirim Yakipatam Maham Vande Shri Gurunditaranam Vancha Kopti Bishcha Kripasinda Bevicha Patitanam Pavane Beo Vaishnave Beo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the last few days we've been talking about the purpose of life. What is the purpose of life? So everything has a purpose. So for example, this microphone, it has a purpose to amplify voice. This stand has a purpose to hold a book or something, computer, laptop. Right? You have a pot in the kitchen. It has a purpose. You know, you put some vegetables in there, you stir it up, cook. Right? I know we have some cooks here. Which one of you are the cooks? Somebody? You're the cook? Yes. She's the quesadilla cook. So everything has a purpose. If you just look around, everything has a purpose. So similarly, there's a purpose to the human form of life. There's a particular purpose. And it's not that we just decide what that purpose is. Or in other words, there's an intrinsic purpose to the human form of life. So what is that purpose? Just as a microphone, a book stand, a pot has a purpose, the purpose of the human form of life is for the soul, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, we are the soul, for the soul to reconnect with the Supreme Soul through love and devotion, to reconnect with Krishna. And that is the conclusion of all Vedic knowledge. But when a living entity in this world forgets their purpose, they try to come up with all different types of things to live for. Can anyone think of some things that people try to live for besides God realization? What do you think? Yes. Money? Yes, that's very true. How much money is enough money? Just, there's nothing. It's never enough. You always want more. There was one very famous man at one point in time, and they asked him, "What is your philosophy in one word?" He was like the most wealthy man at the time. He said, "What is your philosophy in one word?" Does anyone remember what he said? He said, "My philosophy in one word is more." So in other words, I want more, more money. So there's never enough, actually. So yeah, that's true. People live for money. Yes.
Also, too much wealth and also too much greed.
Yes, that's true. Wealth, greed. Any other things? Yes.
Power.
Yeah. Okay, power. Yeah, people live for power, especially in politics. There's a great sense of being in control of a country, whatever country may be, or being one of the controllers of a country. There's a great material satisfaction in that people are after. That's true. Yes.
In education, getting 100% without studying anything.
All right. So in education, getting 100% without studying anything. All right. That usually doesn't happen. Maybe. So you don't want to do that, though, right? No. She studies, right? Okay. Yeah, of course. Anyone else have ideas what people live for?
All materialistic desires.
Just everything, huh? Just all materialistic.
Body pressures.
Okay. What about cricket? People live for cricket? Anyone watch cricket? Any cricket watchers? No, we don't have to get into that. Sports. People live for sports, to watch sports too. So like this, there's so many things people live for. Sometimes people collect stuff that's questionable in terms of the value. In other words, it just seems so silly. I don't know if all of you heard this, but recently there was everybody. I mean, maybe somebody doesn't know here, but there's a type of thing. You could go to the store. You could go to any store and you could buy a bag of chips. I guess you'd call them chips, but they're called Cheetos. Does anyone not know Cheetos? Everybody knows Cheetos? Okay. All right, Krishna. So, recently there was a Cheeto that somebody found, and it looked like Pokemon, one of the characters. So they sold it, and you know how much they sold it for? Want to take a guess?
$100,000.
Less. Pretty close though. $90,000. Somebody bought it for $90,000. You can look it up. It's it was a real thing. But that person who bought that, they're looking for something. They're looking some type of purpose. Okay, let me just buy this thing. Let me buy these types of things. I need some type of purpose. So like that, we could concoct all different types of reasons to live. But ultimately, we could all agree, I think most people could agree on one thing. You might be buying $90,000 a Cheeto, or you might be into whatever, watching sports or power or money or whatever. But intrinsically, everybody feels that one of the most important thing, if not the most important thing, is loving relationships, or relationships based on love and affection. The affection one has for their children, the affection the children have for the parents, the affection between husband and wife, the affection between friends, siblings, yeah. So all of these different relationships, this is something that keeps everybody happy and keeps everybody going in their life. So there is a supreme relationship we can have with Krishna. And who is Krishna?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay, very good. We'll give you extra cookies later. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, he has 6 opulences. Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasashashya. And on, there's some more. But does anyone remember one of those opulences? What does Krishna have? There's 6 he has. What's one? 6 opulences. Wealth. Krishna has wealth. Okay. Strength. Okay, that's one. Krishna has wealth. He has strength. He has beauty. He has knowledge. He has renunciation, and he has fame. God's so famous, even the atheists are talking about him, right? So he has all of these things. So we all may have some of this: beauty, wealth, fame, renunciation. We may have some of these. But Krishna, he has these in full. Therefore, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has a body which is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. It's full of knowledge, it's full of bliss. He's supremely beautiful and powerful, and so on. So Krishna, he comes every once in a while. He comes as Nrsingadev, half man, half lion incarnation. So that's a very fearsome incarnation. He's coming to protect his devotee Prahlad, who has a very bad father, or a very abusive father. So Nrsingadev, he comes, he bursts from the pillar, and he, as one of our friends say, he performs a surgical operation in which the patient did not survive. So he performed this, he killed Hiranyakashipu with his nails. So that was the surgical operation with the nails. Hiranyakashipu was the demon father of Prahlad. So he saved his son Prahlad. So there's Nrsingadev, there's Matsya, there's Kurma, there's Varaha, there's all these different incarnations. Now, one incarnation that is not so commonly discussed or known about is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose appearance was just recently, Gaur Purnima. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared around 500 years ago, and he spread the chanting of Hare Krishna throughout India. Also, he went to South India. He started in Navadvip, West Bengal. That's where he appeared. He made his way to Jagannath Puri. Anyone been to Jagannath Puri here? No? You've been? Some Puri? So he went to Jagannath Puri, and then he went to South India. He took a whole tour of South India. In 6 years, he was walking on foot. So he was spreading the chanting of Hare Krishna to everyone. And by that chanting, they were all experiencing love of God, love of Krishna. So But he's considered a Chana avatar, a hidden incarnation. When people would try to call him God, he would just block his ears. And he said, no, no, no. But he's predicted in Scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. So I'll just tell a little bit about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, and then we'll see if there's any questions or comments. Although sometimes most of the time he would block his ears when people would address him as Krishna, there was one time where he displayed his godhood. There's a few times, but one time he specifically displayed his godhood. So what he did is he got onto the altar, and all the devotees were there, and he said, ask whatever benediction you want. Ask whatever you want. What is your desire? So there was different devotees. There was Sridhar, there was Haridas Thakur, there is Murari Gupta. So we'll start with Murari Gupta and go to Sridhar and then Haridas. So Murari Gupta was a famous physician, doctor. Any doctors in the house? Oh, you're a doctor. You're going to be? Oh, okay, good. Nice. She'll be a doctor. Nice. That's what you want to do? What type of doctor? I'm not sure. A kid's doctor? Okay, nice. That's nice. There's a children's hospital nearby here in San Diego. Maybe you could work there. So he was a doctor, but he was also a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, a great devotee of Krishna, and specifically a great devotee of Ramchandra. So Ramchandra is a personality of Godhead. He appears with his wife Sita. So we have that coming up, the festival of Ramchandra on April 6th. We'll be celebrating that. So Ramayana, it's a long story, but so Murari Gupta is a great devotee of Ramchandra. So Lord Chaitanya, just to test him, he said, Murari Gupta, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should worship him. You should give up your worship of Ramchandra and just worship Krishna. So Murari Gupta, he went home and he was thinking to himself, he was trying to follow Lord Chaitanya's instructions to give up the worship of Ramchandra. But no matter what he could do, he couldn't get Ramchandra out of his mind. He was so attached to Ramchandra. So he was thinking, oh, I can't follow Lord Chaitanya's instructions, better let me just give up my life. So Lord Chaitanya, because he's Krishna, he's within everybody's heart, he understood Murari Gupta's mind. And he went to Murari Gupta and said, you can't take your own life because you're not the giver of life, so you can't take it. And he said, I was just testing you. And you've passed the test. You're a great devotee. And actually, you are Hanuman. So he's actually Hanuman. He was Hanuman in his last life, and he came as Murari Gupta to participate in Chaitanya Leela, the pastimes of Chaitanya. So while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the altar there, he said, Murari Gupta, you come up. And Murari Gupta, he came up, and it says that on the four corners, they were, the whole atmosphere started to transform into like a green forest. And there were monkey soldiers on the four corners offering prayers. And Murari Gupta, he actually started developing a tail like Hanuman. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started transforming into Ramchandra. So this is the pastime of Murari Gupta. And he was asking for pure devotion to Ram. He wasn't asking for anything material. And then you have Sridhar. So Sridhar, Lord Chaitanya, he asked the devotees, go get Sridhar. And the devotees didn't know who Sridhar was. They had no idea who he was. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, go to the corner of the village and you'll hear the loud chanting of Sridhar, loud chanting of Hare Krishna. So his neighbors, they were thinking, oh, this man must be hungry. His stomach is hurting, so he's just chanting so loudly. But he was calling out to Krishna with great love and devotion. So they brought him, and to give a little backstory, he and Lord Chaitanya had an interesting relationship. Mahaprabhu would come to Sridhar every day, and Sridhar, he would sell banana leaves. So you probably can't sell those for very much. But he would sell banana leaves, to make into plates or cups. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would haggle him. He would try to get a low price. That was their relationship. He was cutting the price. And Sridhar was such a humble devotee that he would make money from these bananas, selling these banana leaf plates and cups, and he would give 50% to the worship of Ganga, the river. So they had this sweet relationship. So when Sridhar came up, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sridhar, what do you want? What benediction do you want? And he said, all I want, this is all Sridhar wanted, he said, all I want is I want that a young boy, this means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he was younger at this point, I want that this boy comes to me and he haggles me for this banana leaf, so we have this relationship. In other words, he just wanted this sweet relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then lastly, you have Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, and he started the worship of Krishna, the chanting of Hare Krishna. And the particular ruler at the time did not like that. And actually what they did is they ordered that Haridas Thakur, first of all they said, you give up this chanting of Hare Krishna. And Haridas Thakur said, no, I will not give up the chanting of Hare Krishna. And he said, even if you have to cut my body, even if you cut my body into millions of pieces, I won't stop chanting Hare Krishna. So hearing this, the ruler said, okay, kill him. So they took him to 21 marketplaces, because they would do this publicly, to set an example. And the soldiers beat him violently, trying to kill him. Now, after the 21st marketplace, he wasn't dying. Most people die the first two. So then these soldiers, they said, you're not dying. And then Haridas Thakur said, oh, is that bothering you, me not dying? And then the soldier said, if you don't die, we're going to go back and the ruler's going to kill us. So, we want you to die. So Haridas Thakur, he went into samadhi, he went into this trance as if he was dead. And then they went to the ruler and they said, what do we do with him? What do we do with his body? And the ruler said, don't bury it. Because if you bury it, it'll become a place of pilgrimage. Throw it in the Ganga, throw it in the river. So they threw Haridas Thakur into the river and he started floating down the river. And then he came out of his trance and he started chanting Hare Krishna. And he came out of the river. And for that, that ruler got very severe reactions, as well as the whole village. So while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was displaying his godhood, he called up Haridas Thakur, this personality. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said to Haridas Thakur, he said, actually, when those rulers were beating you, I was going to send my Sudarshan Chakra, it's the weapon of Vishnu. I was going to send it and kill them. But because you were praying for their deliverance, for their benefit, my chakra had no power. It lost all power. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took off his chadar and he showed Haridas Thakur his back. He showed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed Haridas Thakur his back. And on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's back there were so many marks. And he said that, he explained that I was the one taking those beatings for you. And Haridas Thakur asked for his benediction. So this happened for 21 hours, and there was a number of other devotees. So we could see that the whole conclusion of knowledge, Vedanta, the whole conclusion is Bhakti, Bhakti Vedanta, devotion. Devotion is the conclusion of knowledge. That ultimately, the most important thing is having this relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not money, not power, not studying or fame, or not trying to get good grades, 100% grades without studying, or not buying $90,000 Cheeto. But the goal is to reconnect with Krishna. That's the purpose. So some of these pastimes just explain that dynamic between Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and his devotees. All right, does anybody have any question or comment? You have any question?
No.
Comment? Okay. All right. You have something? Mm-hmm. I think he has something.
Yeah, I have a question, but it is, I'm just thinking how to articulate. Okay, I will try my best. So, see, this is Kali Yuga, and yes, a lot of bad things will happen. But today, right, one or the other problem going on in every country. Today, if you as soon as you woke up, if you know, right, okay, here, I mean, let me put it very straightforward, transparently, so that it will be easy to share. For example, say conversion, right? The person of Muslim trying to, they are forcing them to convert to Christian, and then Christian trying to convert to Hindu, and India, a whole lot of things happening. And when you see all that, sometimes like me, your mind boils, right? Better not look anything, stay away. Because it's chanting and Hare Krishna and completely staying away from everything, this is so blissful, rather than looking all that. But
Stay away from the news.
Stay away from the news.
Called news fast.
Exactly, just
Fast from the news.
Facebook and everything. But that never happens, right? Again, the information comes to us one way or the other. So this is the context. Now the question is, to put it in straightforward, why Krishna made it so complicated, making one, different religion and all those stuff. And now in Kali Yuga, we are kind of exposed to all that. And then apart from we are worrying about us, we are also worrying about how our next generation going to face that. I mean, we are kind of chanting to attain, not to have but that is a different story. But still, our generations are there, right? So now itself it is so bad. Still, Kali Yuga is a long way to go. Like, why Krishna made this much religion? And I mean, I know he didn't make. Still, like, I mean, if entire world is having only Krishna devotees and only Krishna, like, it will be so good and blissful, right? There will not be this complication.
Well, I mean, there's different types of people, so therefore there's different types of religion. Not everyone wants a personal form of God, for example. Many religions, including many people's perception of Hinduism, is impersonal. Impersonal means Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdite Vedanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajganam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdite. That there are three aspects to the Absolute Truth. There's not one, there's not two, but there's three. Three aspects to the Absolute Truth. One is Krishna, or God, within everyone's heart. That is an aspect of the Absolute Truth. He's in everybody's heart, and He's guiding us according to our desires. So, all of us here, we wanted to come to the temple tonight, so He guided us to the temple. There's many people who didn't want to come to the temple tonight. They wanted to go somewhere else, so He guided them. So He's guiding us. He's given us knowledge. He's given us remembrance, forgetfulness. So that's one. The second one is Brahman. Now, within Hinduism, this is very prominent. People's concept of mukti, salvation, liberation, people's concept of perfection is that they, the soul, they have this idea, Hindus have the idea, okay, they're the soul, but the perfection, the liberation, the mukti that they want is that after this body expires, which it will expire, then what happens? The soul merges into Brahman. What is Brahman? It's that light. It's that effulgence. There's no form there. It's an aspect of God that is formless. There's no eyes. There's no nose. There's no mouth. There's no form at all. It's just formless. So they think that to merge and to become one, that's the goal. And then there's Bhagavan. There's the Supreme Person. So Krishna, He's playing a flute. Krishna, you could garland Krishna. You could feed Krishna. You could hug Krishna. So that's the personal concept. And that is specifically, you could say, the Vaishnava concept. Whatever Vaishnava that may be, Sri Vaishnava, this Vaishnava, that Vaishnava. It's the concept of personalism, that God is a person. So now when we talk about other religions, they don't go so far. They think God's just impersonal, like there's no personhood there. So that's there within Christianity, that's there within many traditions. They don't have any concept, really. They tend to be impersonalist. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Similarly with the Hindus, they tend to be impersonalist. So there's different religions based on there just being different people. And also, you could say different modes of nature. But Krishna, He creates all of these different things, knowing that even if someone's not to come to the highest realization of God, at least there's something they're following, some type of moral codes, some type of religion. But the ultimate test of any religion is how much you're developing love of God. That's the test, really. So, but yeah, I mean, there's Ukraine and who said that? Who said that? You said, yeah, Ukraine and Russia. There's Hindu and Muslim. There's all of this duality going on. And unfortunately, it is due to the bodily concept of life. And what is the bodily concept of life? People think I am this body. And the highest goal is just to acquire things. And because they're in the bodily concept of life, they do not understand that everyone is a soul. So they think, here's a Hindu, here's a Muslim, here's a Ukrainian, here's a Russian. It's just like complete illusory duality. It's 100% illusion. And it creates so much problems in the world. People do not see each other equally as souls. It's a problem. And the bodily concept of life, I mean, where do you start? There's just so many things wrong with it. I mean, I'll tell you one, but the benefit of not being the bodily concept of life, I'll tell you one example. There was one girl, she was she participated in one of these pageants. They're called pageants, I think, right? Pageant, beauty pageant. It's kind of a strange word, pageant, but it's a contest. You know, who wins? Who's the most physically attractive, beautiful? So it was about 5 years ago or so, and she won. And here in America, she was the most beautiful in America. That's what she won, the title, for those who competed. And so it's difficult because you get so many people competing from different states and so on, and then out of all that, it's all reduced, and then it's reduced, and then you just have a few contestants. So she won out of all of them. Now, fast forward, you know, she became a little older, and I think she was like 25 or 27. Then she became older, and she was about 30, living in New York City. So she became so depressed because she was losing attention from the media. Because what happens is there's young girls or young boys or, you know, young people, and they're getting attention. And then they get a little older, and then there's new people. You know, there's new people come up. So she was getting very depressed, and she was nearing 30 years old, which is not old, by the way. Maybe some people consider it's old. I guess if you're younger, you think 30 years old, that's like kind of old, but... So she just decided to take her life. So she just jumped off the building, right there in New York City, to her death. And they heard about it earlier. She wrote in her journal. She said, I wasn't getting any attention from the media, and I was feeling I'm getting older, and you know, I'm not so attractive anymore. It's the bodily concept of life. She's not the body. She's the soul. And to live, you know, the body gets old. You know, you get gray hair, it gets old. So just to be living for external things, you could see how much depression it could cause. People aren't living for the right things. Yes?
So, Krishna is everywhere.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
So the word supreme makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Right? Sridhar, I think it was Sridhar, he couldn't give up Ram.
Yes.
Ram, and he passed the test.
Yes.
Could you help explain, like, how Ram, Krishna, Vishnu, they're all the same?
Yes.
But that we still say Krishna is the supreme.
Okay. So, yeah, there's Krishna, but then there's Ram, and there's Vishnu, and there's so many, but they're all the same. So the example that's given in the Brahma Samhita is that there's an original candle, and from that candle, so many candles are lit. So the idea is that Krishna is the original candle, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him, so many incarnations come. Ramchandra, Vishnu, so many incarnations come. But they're the same person, but they're coming for different purposes at different times. And that is the power of God. He can appear, he could expand or duplicate himself and appear at different times and different places for different purposes. So that's what happens. And you say, well, why do we worship Krishna as the Supreme? Like, why not Vishnu, or why not Ram, or so on? So they say there's 4 reasons. One reason is Krishna, there's unique characteristics that Krishna has. One, he has these childhood pastimes. So you have Mother Yashoda and Krishna, and you have Krishna stealing the butter and this and that, and these childhood pastimes. You do not see that in Vishnu. You don't see that, I guess maybe you see it in Ram, but it's very special pastimes, the pastimes of Krishna, these childhood pastimes. And then he is playing, he's playing a flute, and another one he's surrounded by devotees on the topmost platform of love and devotion, pure devotees, in very intimate relation with him. And also he is engaging in Madhurya Rasa. What does that mean? That means that Vishnu has one wife. Who is that? Lakshmi, yes. And Ram has one wife, Sita, yes. But Krishna has a lot. Krishna, these princesses were kidnapped by an evil guy. There was Narakasura. There was 16,000 of them. I think 16,108. But I think it was 100. Anyways, there were about 16,000 of them. They were all young girls, 16, 17, 18, whatever, something in that range. And they're all pure devotees of Krishna, so they're praying, Krishna, please save us. So he came, killed Narakasura, and he saved them all. And then what did Krishna do? He married them. Now, traditionally, if a woman was to spend the night at a man's house that wasn't her husband, and she was a young girl, no one would marry her. It was just like out of the question. So in other words, these girls' lives, from that perspective, were just like ruined. And then for a woman not to get married traditionally was also just like an absolute nightmare. So, but Krishna, he married them. Now we learn from this that Krishna, that specifically devotion outweighs material qualification. So no, they weren't so materially qualified. But because they were devotees, great devotees of Krishna, then he married them. So yes, Krishna has, he's not limited in that way. Devotees could serve him in that relationship. So these are some of the reasons. Yes?
So you said in Rama Avataram there's Hanuman, and then in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's there's a devotee that's an incarnation of Hanuman. In Krishna's pastimes, is there a incarnation of Hanuman?
Not that I've heard of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also my second question is that the Lord, when as the yugas go, he does his main avatars, but why doesn't he do his avatars more main avatars in Kali Yuga, because it is so bad and people need to sing the Hare Krishna moment. So why doesn't he do more avatars?
Oh, like after Lord Chaitanya?
Main avatars, the ones he does in the yugas.
Why is it hidden? Why is Lord Chaitanya hidden?
Yeah.
Well, Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, sometimes they say that things that are hidden are considered the most valuable. Just like, for example, you may have a lot of money under your mattress. Some people do that. They don't trust the banks. So they just get a mattress and they put a lot of the money in there, right? But they're not going to invite all their friends over necessarily and say, hey, you know how much money I have under this mattress? I got $1.5 million under this mattress. It's hidden. They keep things hidden. There's also confidential things are also keeping very hidden. You may have a secret you tell someone, or someone tells you, or you have friends like that. It's very confidential. So it could be seen like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is so wonderful that it's hidden because it's so important. So that's a way of looking at it. but for whatever reason, that's what Krishna decided to do. Just like we may ask the question, why is Krishna blue? Why is Krishna blue or bluish? Or we could ask the question, we just had a guitar player up here, right? We could ask the question, why does Krishna play a flute and not a guitar? So our teacher, Srila Prabhupada, he at least one time said, he said, Krishna is blue because he's all attractive. No, that doesn't, not everybody's going to be satisfied with an answer, but practically that means that he wants to be. So somehow or other, that was the desire of Lord Chaitanya, that he would be hidden. But our teacher also explains, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna, he came and he spoke Bhagavad Gita, and he said, Sarva dharmam prityaja mame kam sharanam vraja. Surrender unto me, I shall protect you from all sinful reactions, do not fear. But Krishna, he saw that people weren't doing that after he came. People weren't surrendering to him. So then he thought, okay, let me come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's another thing. Yeah. All right. So should we serve the dinner now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay.
Wonderful talk and
Thank you.
questions and answers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Thank you.
And you'll have prasadam served here. You'll have the partition here.
Okay.
It is too cold.
Yes.
And I want
It's
to
too cold.
have to set the
We don't want anybody to freeze out there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.